The man who was a Vatican diplomat at the highest level has decided to talk. The things that he tells can change your vision of the world. We will share here the most important points. Monsignor Carl Maria Viganò held a senior position. He was Secretary General governing the Vatican City and up to 2016 was the Pope's ambassador to the United States. Now, 79 years old, he says that he wants to end his days with a clean conscience. He denounces what he has seen and disassociates himself from the Pope. Archbishop Viganò published an open letter to Donald Trump on the 25th of October 2020. In it, he warns that the elites are preparing a world dictatorship. He praises Trump for being the only one who confronts this form of globalization. It begins like this: Mr. President, allow me to address you at this time, in which the fate of the whole world is being threatened by global conspiracies against God and humanity. Let us remember that Viganò is a veteran diplomat for the Vatican. At the highest sphere, he knows many things, and in this letter it is very clear. A global plan called the Great Reset is underway. Its architect is a global elite that wants to subdue all of humanity, imposing coercive measures with which to drastically limit individual freedoms. Behind the world leaders who are the accomplices and executors of this infernal project, there are unscrupulous characters who finance the World Economic Forum. We must explain here what the Great Reset is. The World Economic Forum, together with the World Monetary Fund and the UN, planned this great reset of the world economy. Just like when your phone is blocked and you have to restart it. That is a reset. They say that we are in an emergency situation because of global warming and the pandemic, and that it is urgent to restart the global economy another way in order to save the planet. This implies new agreements with the nations. They can pardon countries' external debt in exchange for them accepting that world authority and eliminating the emission of CO2. And they have programmed a grand event in the Davos Forum of January 2021 called the Great Reset, bringing together top-ranking world leaders of these organizations to iron out the details. They assure that this is purely to create a more sustainable and united world, but others see it as yet another step toward the New World Order. What Viganò has written is chilling. The purpose of the Great Reset is the imposition of a health dictatorship aiming at the imposition of liberticidal measures, hidden behind tempting promises of ensuring a universal income and cancelling individual debt. The price of these concessions from the International Monetary Fund will be the renunciation of private property and adherence to a program of vaccination against COVID-19 and COVID-21. The letter continues. The imposition of the vaccination will be accompanied by the requirement of a health passport and a digital ID, with the consequent contact tracing of the population of the entire world. Those who do not accept these measures will be confined in detention camps or placed under house arrest, and all their assets will be confiscated. Friends, the reality surpasses fiction. It is so inhumane that the mind rejects it, preferring not to believe it. Besides, you will not see this in the news, because the big media outlets cater to globalism. To be honest with you, I believe it because the Bible says it. The book of Revelation describes that future in a globalized world, Revelation 13, 16 to 17. And he causeth all, both small and great, rich and poor, free and bond, to receive a mark in their right hand or in their foreheads, and that no man might buy or sell save he that had the mark. Revelation explains to us that in that situation some will stand on their feet with conviction and courage, holding fast against the current, defending their liberty. God is proud of them. He loves them. He gives them sufficient strength. He gives them the victory. God resolves it, and history ends up very well for them. Read it. Some criticize Viganò because his current whereabouts are unknown. The website infovaticana.com calls him the Archbishop on the run, and others see it as very sensible that he would want to protect himself. That is why Viganò is credible. He could keep quiet and live a comfortable retirement, but he cannot remain quiet. He cannot be an accomplice to these dark plans. We can think that Viganò is a conspiracy theorist, but when we see his life trajectory, you discover an intellectual, doctor of both civil law and canon law, a conservative diplomat. The newspapers show us 4 informative impacts that give us the profile of Viganò. First, informative impact, VatiLeaks. In 2010, the famous filtration of documents from the office of the Pope, called VatiLeaks, took place. It shows an Archbishop Viganò writing to the Pope denouncing scandals. It reads, corruption, prevarication, and bad management in the administration of the Vatican. He was also vocal when millions of dollars disappeared, denouncing those responsible as fraudulent. Here we discover a Viganò protesting, trying to correct these wrongs. Pope Francis removed him from office in 2016 and sent him to Kosovo. Second informative impact, priests, pederasts. The New York Times headline, "The Man Who Took on the Pope." All because, on the 25th of August 2018, Archbishop Viganò denounced pederasty in the church. And he said that the Vatican had always covered up sexual abuses by the clergy with a blanket of silence. Viganò had been silent for a long time, but the Pennsylvania scandal blew up when it was found that more than 1,000 children were abused by over 300 priests. Then, when the police took up the matter, he could not bear it any longer and spoke out. And furthermore, he left Pope Francis exposed, because he declared that Pope Francis absolutely knew of the crimes of perverted Cardinal McCarrick and even protected him, and ironically gave him senior responsibilities. Francis knew of these sexual crimes as far back as 2013 because Viganò was his ambassador in the United States and informed him of this in writing. Mario Tosatti, Vaticanist and journalist of La Stampa, encouraged him to publish it. Tosatti says that it was very difficult for the Archbishop to denounce because they are individuals trained to keep silence, educated to be quiet on everything they might see to the day of their death. But Viganò was not a coward and put himself on the side of the law. Third informative impact, Trump, the son of light. On the 7th of May 2020, in full pandemic, Archbishop Viganò published an open letter to President Donald Trump. What does it say? In summary, the New World Order is a diabolic idea to control humanity that will do away with freedom. And he gives God thanks for Donald Trump confronting globalization and the Masonic ideas. The letter begins like this. Mr. President, in the last months we have been witnesses of the formation of 2 opposing camps that I would call the children of light and the children of darkness. For Viganò, the children of darkness prepare the dictatorship of the New World Order. The United States speaks much of the deep state. It would be a kind of government in the shadow, formed by the most powerful, that pull the strings of the country in secret, united by the Masonic ideas and at the margin of the politicians. Viganò affirms that this is so, that the deep state is a reality, and he wrote, "In society, Mr. President, these two opposing realities coexist as eternal enemies, just as God and Satan are eternal enemies. And it appears that the children of darkness, whom we may identify easily with the deep state, which you wisely oppose, have decided to show their cards, so to speak, by now revealing their plans." He refers to the deadly powers that promote global government as the deep state and Pope Francis. On the other side, for the children of light, Viganò highlights the role of Donald Trump in supporting Christians in the USA, while coping with globalism. Donald Trump published it on his Twitter, saying that he felt honored by this letter. Fourth informative impact, the Great Reset. So we return to the letter written to Donald Trump, with which we began this video, signed the 25th of October 2020, explaining the Great Reset and the sanitary dictatorship. In it, addressing Trump, he writes, "Around you are gathered with faith and courage those who consider you the final garrison against the world dictatorship." He said this because Trump, with his continuing theme of America First, defended the independence of the American economy and American culture, cutting the step to globalization.
Wise leaders always put the good of their own people and their own country first. The future does not belong to globalists. The future belongs to patriots. The future belongs to sovereign and independent nations who protect their citizens, respect their neighbors, and honor the differences that make each country special and unique.
This is why Viganò ends his letter this way. Mr. President, you are well aware that in this crucial hour, the United States of America is considered the defending wall against globalism. And ends saying, "With all my heart, I send you my blessing." This is the information. Now you must come to your own conclusion. It is wonderful to see a Catholic archbishop feel united to a Protestant to take on the New World Order that Pope Francis promotes, because it is important to connect it to the Bible. Donald Trump lost the election, so the last line of defense against globalism has fallen. Welcome to the new era of the New World Order. Viganò has erred in putting his faith in man, because this is a matter that only God can solve. We know that the prophecies will be fulfilled. What is written will be fulfilled. That is the Bible. Even though we might not like it, the world government will end up imposing itself, and you will see it. Remember then, and believe. But the promises of power and victory for those who may reject it will also be fulfilled. And what do you think about this? We are interested in knowing what you think. Leave us your comments. To know the full context of the New World Order, its origins and objectives, I recommend the book, The Great Controversy. It provides a lot of information on what is to come. I leave you the link in the description box. If you like this video, help us make it more visible. Subscribe and give us a like. Activate the bell to receive new videos. And may God be with you always.